Speak your truth. Kasten Spetham is with us. Did I say that right?
Spethmann. Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love your first name too. It's a beautiful first name.
Thank you.
You're very
I love your first name.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I absolutely love the name of your podcast. Like that is really like the underlying MO of my life.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a little bit harsh, for people, but I always encourage people to speak their truth, and I always speak mine.
I love it. And that's
good or bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that on your website. So that's definitely something I want to talk about. What makes you such a rebel? I want to hear all about it because I feel that way about myself. And that's somewhere I'm at now is that, I need to have that mental breakthrough where I just need to completely, you know what I'm saying? Just go against.
I do.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself, your background, where you're from, your family, all that.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon, to parents who were German immigrants. So both my parents were born in Germany. My mom was born in communist East Germany during World War II. And so she grew up during the war and lived there after the war. And at 17, she was able to escape and eventually made her way to the United States. Yeah. So what's that?
This is your mother.
Yes, my mom.
Wow.
My mom is, if you meet her, you think, oh my God, she's the sweetest little lady on the planet. She's 82 years old. She plays tennis 4 days a week and she kicks my ass. So I come from good genes, like really tough people who have been through a lot. And so there was no whining really in our family, right? So immigrants are just a different breed and they're very tough and they expect a lot from you, which was fine. So I grew up here, but I didn't ever really want to live here in Oregon, even though I'm back here now. I really like the sun and I just always felt like I should be on a beach somewhere. And I don't know where that comes from. Like as a kid, I already had a blow up palm tree in my room. Like I just am all about, that's where I belong. If you ever had that feeling of like, this is my home, this is where I'm supposed to be. And yeah. So halfway through high school, like the summer before my junior year, I told my parents, like, listen, I have really good grades and I'm bored as hell. So I'm out, like I'm dropping out of high school and I'm moving to California so I can surf. And they were like, really, how are you going to make money? And I was like, well, I'm going to have a bento stand. And I thought I had it all figured out.
You sound like me.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
I told my dad the same thing when I transferred from UConn. I wanted to go to NYU. And he was like, okay, so then what? And I was like, I'm gonna get a job and I'm gonna do this and that. And he was like, that's not how it works, Samari. And I found that out many years later, but he was right. It does not work like that.
Right. Yeah. And so like, for me, it was like, well, if I wanted to see my next birthday, I had to kind of, do what my parents said. And so they're like, you're not only graduating from high school, you're going to go to college because that's why we immigrated here. So you can have better opportunities and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And so, but I did it. And that's a little bit where sophisticated rebel came into play, meaning that I did it in a sophisticated way, rebelled in a way that got everybody kind of what they wanted, but I still was able to be true to who I was. So I went to college, and I worked at Nike up here in Oregon to put myself through school, and I graduated. And 2 days later, I quit my job, and I became a professional windsurfer. I had 7 sponsors, and I flew around the world for 4 years windsurfing.
What?
Yep.
You quit Nike.
I did.
To become a professional windsurfer after 2 days.
Yeah. 2 days after graduating. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so here's what was good about this for anybody who's listening who might be wondering why the hell I would leave Nike, because my parents were like, oh my God, you could have been vice president at 35. I'm like, no, I couldn't have, because corporate America and I did not get along. I'm not good at rules and structure. And so I didn't work well under the whole thing of like, you got to be here at 8, you got to work till 5. Here's how long you can go to lunch. Here's like, I was like, wait, what? No. And so I was 21 and no, I was 22. I was 22 and I've never had a job since. Just not, I knew I was not wired for that. Great company, but not for me. No company would be good for me, except for my own. So yeah, and then from there I sort of fell into the venture capital world. I'd never taken a finance class, and yet I was really, really good at raising capital for companies. And eventually I raised my own fund with a friend, a colleague, and deployed capital, and left that world after a while. Was like, wait a second, I didn't even ever want to do this. What about what I want to do? And so I tried my hand at a consumer products good company. So a friend and I designed, we invented a flat refillable lipstick applicator and got it patented, got it designed, manufactured, marketed. And we did that. It took us about 6 years, but it never took off. And we just sort of ran out of money and energy. And I was like, okay, we got to put this on the shelf, right? So they're still in my garage, all 4,000 units.
Are you
So,
serious?
yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I am
Wow.
absolutely serious.
Wow.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay, well, that didn't work. And so I had a good taste of failure, right? Oh, let me back up. In 2004, I was I'm only sharing this because this is such a big part of who I am now, like what I had to go through. So in 2004, I was in a car accident. I was hit by some teenage kids that were going about 75 miles an hour.
Wow.
And yeah, I was hit by 3 cars total. And I had a broken neck and my jaw had been torn off. Now, I didn't even know that could happen. Apparently, it's an injury that boxers get because of getting punched. Yeah. So I hit the side of my car and it tore my jaw off. And yeah, so I ate through a straw for a year.
Oh my
And I had to go through physical therapy every day, 5 surgeries. And I was bankrupt emotionally, physically, financially, everything gone.
Wow.
Because for 2 years, I couldn't do really anything, right? So obviously I rebuilt myself, which makes me really a little bit tougher on myself and others. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not listening to your excuses. So yeah, right. So yeah, so when I had to come to grips with the fact that my business had failed, I was like, all right, so what do I want to do? What do I love? Well, I love entrepreneurs. I love entrepreneurs because they fix the world, truly. They're the ones, when they see a problem, they see it as an opportunity, and they're the ones that are working on ways to cure diseases, fix the environment, make things better, faster, safer, healthier, whatever, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. And they have so much good energy. And when shit hits the fan, they just see opportunities and they pivot. And the pandemic really proved that, right? So I decided, what's that?
Did I agree? The pandemic definitely showed how people can step up and take things into their own hands.
For sure, for sure. Anyway, I just love entrepreneurs. And then so I wanted to work with entrepreneurs again. And I decided, the one thing that I was really good at was raising money. And where I saw a problem was that startup entrepreneurs don't know how to raise money. So if they get to the point where they have to raise money, they don't know how to do it. And most new founders come from a different industry. Maybe they're a nurse or a bus driver, or I don't know, they work at Home Depot or whatever it is. Well, how are they, they're an engineer, whatever. Okay, well, how are they supposed to know how to raise money? They're not, right? And so I created an online class that people can take at their own pace. They pay for it once, it's super affordable, and then they own the material forever. And it just walks them through how to raise money from A to Z. And so I started doing a lot of coaching of founders, and really found a niche in helping athletes become entrepreneurs. Because what I found I want to say it was probably about 10 or 11 years ago. I was on a panel in Arizona. I lived in Arizona for 9 years. And I was on a panel with there were six of us, and three of us were retired professional athletes. And the athletes, we all answered the questions very similarly, whereas the non-athletes did not. And so one guy was a cyclist, one guy was NFL. And so we talked afterwards and we're like, oh my gosh, we're so different. And so it comes from the fact of what it takes to get to the collegiate level, pro level, Olympic level, right? And so if you take those skills and that tenacity that an athlete has built up over years of working on their sport and their craft, that equates over in so well into what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur.
Definitely.
Yeah. So now that's what I'm doing is I'm helping founders and coaching athletes that want to become entrepreneurs. And so, yeah, that's kind of me. I've always kind of just done my own thing and very happy about it. And
Yes. Definitely an inspiration, man. Quitting Nike. I mean, I know people do it every day, but like, come on, man. 2 days after graduation, you said F it. Like that's crazy.
yes. No, I knew it was coming for a long
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it was just, it was good money, right? And I was getting through college. So that's what it was. And
Yeah.
I have no regrets. I mean, I was so blessed that I got to learn at an early age that I was not cut out for the corporate gig. And so how fortunate is that? Some people have to go to college all the way through and then they work somewhere for 10 years or whatever. And now they're stuck with a mortgage payment and a car payment and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, hell, I don't like corporate. Well, I felt very fortunate that I got to learn that at a very young age. Because so much of life, Samari, is knowing what you don't want, right?
Yes.
That's how you figure out what you do want. Try stuff and whittle it down.
That's real. My dad gave me that same advice, but about dating, because he was like, yeah, he was like, especially once I came out, he said, I have no issue with you being gay, and I have no issue with you dating a lot of people. I did the same thing, and that's how you figure out what you like and don't like, because you are going to spend a lot of time with this person. And he knew that I was, I love to be around people. I loved, being in relationships very young. So he, was very open with me about that and gave me great advice, but that was something that he said, but for a different reason.
Yeah, I mean, it really holds true with everything. And I think that's some of the best advice somebody could give their child, right? I mean, I tend to tell my nieces like, hey, go play the field. Like, you're too young to be in a serious relationship. Go date a lot. Go have friends with benefits, whatever. You know what I mean? Because that's how you learn.
And you have to go through things. I have a little brother, he's 16. So he's dating, and I want to tell him everything because I went through some of the same stuff, and I can't because he has to go through it on his own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm already learning how to be a parent essentially. And, it's really, really, really hard, even with friends and stuff. I'm learning you have to just listen instead of give advice. And sometimes that's all people want anyway.
Yeah. And, but I do think that if you share with them that same advice that your dad gave you, they can do with it what they want, but at least, and you don't have to say like, oh, you should do this. You could just say, this is what worked for me. This was the advice that I got, and it helped me so much. I think then, you just put it out there, but you're right. People also have to, they can't really learn from your mistakes or whatever, or your experiences, right? They do have to go through it. There's no way around it. You got to go through it.
For sure. That's so true. And again, it's hard to watch sometimes. And it's even hard, I know my parents said the same thing for me, to just let me go out and do stuff on my own so I can, understand and relate. Because I'm at the point where I'm ready to have kids. So I'm scared that I'm going to, hold their hand the whole time. Yeah. Like just walk them through their whole life till we both die. So, but I can't do it,
Well, I think if you had this conversation with your parents, they would tell you that feeling never goes away, that you'll always feel like you want to hold their hand. You will always worry about them. You'll always want to know that they're okay. But it is the learning part of for the parent of how to give them the space to learn some of that stuff themselves.
I'm just gonna get a puppy, Kasten. I can't. I don't think
Do
I
it.
can do
Do it. Start with the dog.
Yeah, actually, this might be very personal, but you don't have children, do you?
I do not.
I read it on your website. Why not? If you don't mind me asking.
Sure. So a couple of reasons. I didn't get married till I was 45.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to get married. I didn't. So yeah, so gosh, we're going deep. Okay, so my thing about marriage was that I was very afraid that I would lose my identity if I got married. I was afraid that I would just become someone's wife and that I would just be someone's mom. And I wasn't strong enough yet in who I was to be able to, some women are like, oh, I was born to be a mom. I just want to be a mom. Well, I didn't have that. I didn't feel that. I love kids. Here's the funny thing. I have probably 40 to 50 kids that call me Aunt Kasten,
Wow.
and none of them are my relatives.
Wow.
None of them. And I've mentored a lot of young people, and I mean, I get invited. I just performed a wedding for some girls that called me Aunt Kasten.
Wow.
One of them I've known her whole life, and so they've just always known me as Aunt Kasten, and they're like, "We'd really like you to officiate our wedding." And so I'm a really good aunt. I think I would have been a good mom, but I'll tell you this: the way that I am about my dogs makes me go, "Oh, it's probably good I wasn't a mom," because they are. I mean, my whole world revolves around. Wait, do they need to go for a walk? Wait, do they feel safe? Wait, are they getting good nutrition? Wait, do they feel loved? Wait, what about, I mean, it's ridiculous, Samari. I am ridiculous about these dogs. And so my husband and I always joke about, oh, probably best I didn't have kids, because
Wow.
I'd have been like, oh my God, did you sleep okay? Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, I didn't want to get married young. And it was never on my to-do list or important to me. I feel like have you ever heard the interview that Oprah did with Jamie Foxx about marriage?
No.
If you can find it somewhere, it's so interesting because, everyone's always given Oprah a bad time for never getting married. And everyone gives Jamie Foxx a bad time for not getting married. Well, he coined it so well. He said, look, people are born with different things they want to do in their life, or as they grow up, they want to accomplish different things. And so some people, it's like, I want to go to college, I want to do or whatever. I don't want to have this career, or I want to be this athlete or a singer, whatever. And then somewhere on that list is get married, have a family, blah, blah, blah. Well, on his list, it's on the list, but it's way down. His career and being a comedian and being an actor and taking care of his family. He does have kids. Those things were all really important to him. Marriage was not. And Oprah was like, oh, thank God, thank you for saying it that way, because it's so hard to explain to people why. And I'll tell you, as a chick, I got like, oh my God, you're not married? Why not? What's wrong with you? You can't do commitment? What's wrong? I'm like, I didn't know there was a rule that said I had to.
Man, can I just be me?
No, it was, especially, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 48. And so when I was in my 20s, no, you could not. You were expected to, like something was wrong with you if you didn't want to get married and have kids. And it was the most rebellious thing I've done. And I fought against it for the first probably 42 years of my life. I mean, obviously not when I was really young, but at least 25 years. So let's say from the time I was 20 till the time I was 25, I pushed against a cultural expectation and a societal norm. And that is not easy to do for 25 years. Now I'm too old to have kids, so people don't ask me that anymore. And I don't mind if they ask, because you asked and it's not with any sort of judgment. You just asked, right? out of curiosity. But I tell people that is the most rebellious thing I've ever done.
Man.
And I've done some, I mean, I've been arrested twice, so I've done some
Oh,
shit.
whoa. I know we said 30 minutes, but
oh, that's another podcast. We'll do that sometime.
Okay, then part 2, because I need to know. Wow.
It was nothing, I mean, I didn't like hurt anybody or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was, really quick. So it was excessive speeding and drunk and disorderly.
You are wild. I gotta. Are you still on the wild side, or are you more settled down now?
Okay, so it kind of depends on the situation. So I was never wild. Like even when the drunk and disorderly, I wasn't that drunk. It was that my favorite hockey team won the Stanley Cup, and I was with a bunch of people who were also Boston Bruin fans, and so we were dancing on the bar, and we broke a bunch of tables and glasses and everything. And so we all got arrested. But sorry, they didn't even have enough handcuffs. They used those like flex cuffs, zip ties.
Yes.
And anyway, so yeah, so I was never super wild, but I'm definitely a non-conformist. Like one time I saw a guy kicking his dog, and then he was carrying him by his collar. Carrying the dog by his collar, and the dog was choking, and I kicked the guy and kicked him and kicked him and kicked him and kicked him and just screamed at him. And Mike was like, that's my husband. He was like, oh honey, strike 3, let's tone it down. And I was like, no, for a dog, I'll go back to jail.
Yeah, because that's crazy. Like, why would you even do that?
Because he was a drunk idiot.
And they let him have a dog still.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I hope that he'll think twice before he does anything like that again. But so am I still wild? Yeah, in that respect. If it's something I believe in, I will be.
I love it. I love it. You might be my soul sister, Kasten, because listen, we sound like the same person, man. Literally.
I love that.
I wasn't that brave to quit my job at 22 because I was still playing basketball. I wasn't brave enough to, start life and, figure that out. But definitely with standing up for myself and other people, even animals, like it could be a bird, like it doesn't belong to anybody. Don't harm stuff. Like I don't understand that. Harm people in any kind of way.
And elderly, like when I find out someone's harming someone who's elderly, I lose my shit.
Yes.
Lose my shit. And so when my mom found out that I she found out that I was close to strike 3. At the same time, she found out about 1 and 2. So she never knew that I'd been arrested. And then she was like, well, first of all, I don't understand that if there's ever a reason to be arrested. And I go, well, so I tell her the story. Now, my family are dog freaks. I mean, we just love dogs. So I tell my mom what this guy was doing, and that Mike was afraid, I'd get arrested again. And she was like, yeah, I'd be in jail with you. I was like, see, mom, see. So yeah,
I love it.
I love when people are when they stand their ground for something they believe in so strongly that they are willing to go against what society wants or accepts as okay. That's my mission in life, is to cheerlead those people, blaze that trail, cheer them on, support them, encourage them to not give a fuck what anyone else thinks about their dreams.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
So tell us your business name and about your business and how you help clients achieve that I don't give a fuck.
Okay. And I'll try to remember to send you, I have this really short, succinct bio that I wrote one day, just crazy. But I'll send it to you in case you want to put it with this. So my business is called Your Startup Life. And it's everything from helping people figure out how to scale their business to helping them, when their spouse or partner doesn't want to support their idea, to how to raise capital or read a business plan or any of that stuff. So I have all sorts of ways because I try to be flexible with entrepreneurs because they're all at kind of different stages. So I have some standalone classes and then I do coaching. And I am working on athletes to entrepreneurs. So that will be a subset of my business. And it's going to be specifically coaching athletes. And I'm working on a class, creating a class for that. Excuse me, that will be offered at universities as they're like under professional development.
Whoa,
So
that's nice.
yeah. And then, so my husband and I are leaving in November. We're taking our fifth wheel down to Mexico for 4 months. Because again, I need the beach and the ocean, the palm trees and the sun.
If it can't be home, you can have home away from home, right?
Yeah, I'm a nomad. There's no home thing for me.
Gosh, we're the same person. Same
nice.
person, different bodies. I always say that. I don't know where home is. I try to find it, but it's everywhere. Everywhere I am.
Let me move my. That's where it is, honey. Yeah. That's where it is. That's the only. That's, everything else is just a place.
Yes.
Home is a feeling.
I love it.
Yeah. So,
tattooed.
Okay. So, I know what sorry. I'm a little bit ADD. So I think while I'm gone, I'm going to write a book.
About, or can you tell us?
Well, so I've had several people, I've just had weird experiences in my life and I see the world kind of differently. And people are like, you should write your life story. I'm like, well, who the hell would want to read that? And they're like, well, I would. And I was like, well, you know my story. Why? And they're like, exactly. So write your story. It might inspire somebody or whatever. And so I think, okay, well, so anyway, so there's a lot of solitude where we're going, not a lot of internet, a lot of surfing, a lot of kayaking, but not a lot of distractions. So that would be a really good time for me to work on a book. And it would be called Sophisticated Rebel.
I love it. I love it, Kasten. You are an inspiration, man.
Oh, thanks.
I love
a little bit crazy, but just I hope I'm not an inspiration for you to go get arrested because that's not what I want.
The drunken disorderly kind of sounded a little fun. So I was like, it's not a bad reason to get arrested, but nah, I'm a chill. I'm a chill. I got you. That's the one thing I hope to not do in my life is get arrested. That and cocaine. I don't want to do neither one of those. No.
Yeah, I've never done coke either. And I don't
want to try.
No.
I always say that's one thing, any drug really aside from weed. I don't want to do anything. I want to do anything else. My occasional Smirnoff cooler from the Speedway down the street. Yeah. That's it. I'm good.
Nice. So, I really don't know you very well, but I can tell just by the fact that you do this podcast, what the title is and what we've shared just here in the last half hour is that I would venture to guess that you've spent many years now looking internally and really figuring out who you are. And so what I have found is that people like us very rarely do a lot of drinking or a lot of drugs or because we're desperately trying to find ourselves so much that the last thing we want is to escape from ourselves. And that's what the drugs and alcohol do, right? They help you escape. But I have a feeling you and I are not like that. We're searchers and we don't want to be more disconnected. We want to be more connected with ourselves.
Exactly. So, I agree 100%. And since this is Speak Your Truth, one of my other guests told me to talk about this because other people go through it, whether it's marijuana or, I've had a couple guests who struggled with a pill addiction after injuries. And so I smoked a lot from maybe 2 years after I stopped playing, or no, actually right after I stopped playing. So in 2016 until like a couple months ago, just nonstop all day, wake up, go to sleep, couldn't
Wow.
like do anything without it. And for that reason, I was trying to escape my reality because I didn't like what it looked like. I was essentially starting all over. I didn't take care of my money when I was overseas. So I was having to work jobs I didn't really want to work. I had no job experience because I was overseas playing basketball. So, I just was getting high, and I was thinking that it was fun at first and it was cool, and everybody else is doing it. And it got to the point where exactly what you just said, I was like, man, I don't even feel like myself. Like, I'm looking at this person in the mirror, and who is she? I can't, like, is she Samari? Is she
Yeah.
Samari, the basketball player? Is she Samari, the pothead? Like, who is this person right here? And so
Yeah.
that's what these last couple of months have been about, is like regaining clarity. Who am I? What do I want? Where am I going? What am I doing? Just simply, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And it's been hard. And it's very hard to go through. And sometimes, whether it's mental health, whether you do drugs or not, or just, smoking, if you have a drinking addiction, it could be anything. You get embarrassed and don't want to talk to anybody and isolate yourself. And that's exactly what I did. And I just realized the isolation part today. Everything else I already realized, but I just today realized how I've isolated my own self because of my mental health. And then because of, I was just smoking so much. I didn't want other people to know. I didn't want to go around people because I know if I smelled like it, I didn't want them to be like, just be embarrassed about how I smelled, or just anybody, noticing something. But yeah, like I'm not embarrassed to talk about it because I know that I'm not the only one, and me talking about it is going to help somebody else. And
Amen.
if I'm going to do anything, I would rather be weed than anything else. So,
Yeah.
not, downing anybody that's had any other addictions, but I know how, from hearing their stories, how hard it is to stop doing that. And I've seen, like, people just really, 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 you can say sick because of the habits that they have. So that's another thing that made me want to get healthy, aside from just feeling so disconnected to myself, is seeing it in other people and like, damn, is that how I look when I'm high? Or, is that, do I look sad, and do I look sleep? Do I look like a zombie? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't know, because I'm not looking at myself like when I'm out, but I'm like, I can only imagine if they look like that, and I can say, man, like, I know he just smoked or she just smoked. And that's how I look to other people, even if nobody's ever said it really, or like said, a lot of people say that they can't tell like that I'm, I don't know how I do it. I'm like Snoop Dogg or something, Martha Stewart. But then I told myself that's something to be proud of. Like, I shouldn't be proud that I can hide it. And I was for a while. And but again, I'm glad that I can sit here and talk about it freely. And knowing that hopefully that even if I just help one person, that's enough.
Yeah. And also, someday you may have to look back on this and draw on the strength that you had to make that change, because things are going to happen in your life and they're going to be shitty. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to find strength again. And so every time you make it through something, be proud of that, and just put it away in a little bit of a filing cabinet in your mind, and tap into that when you're not feeling super strong or not feeling confident, or you're going through something tough, and just remind yourself that you pulled yourself out of that. You made a decision and changed your life, and you can do it over and over, whenever you want to or need to. Definitely. I mean, I really, really believe that. And so good for you. I will share with you, one of the things about athletes to entrepreneurs is that every single athlete, including myself, that I've ever spoken to that made it to collegiate or pro level, has a huge identity crisis when we retire. Huge. Like, it's so bad that there's massive depression around it, right? And there's a really, when you went to UConn, right?
Mm-hmm. UConn in Kentucky.
Shit. That's some basketball right there.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go look up some of your tape. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to embarrass you, but So when you graduate, or you've gone to school on a scholarship, you're expected to play and work out, right? And do your practice stuff. And in the summers, you're working out, you're playing, right? You don't have time to do summer internships or have a summer job. You don't get to take elective classes in college. You can't do fun stuff on the side because you don't have time, and you are expected. Hell, you don't even sometimes major in anything that's difficult because they want you to play basketball.
Exactly.
And so then if you don't, let's say you blow out your knee senior year, you don't get to go pro. You don't even know what you like. You don't know what you dislike. You have no clue as to what direction you should go, what profession you might be good at. And so the thing that I tell a lot of athletes is, first thing is, I want you to listen to a ton of different podcasts about anything under the sun that you might be interested in, whether it's space exploration, maybe it's ocean conservancy, maybe it's finance stuff, or whatever it is. Just listen to stuff and see how you feel when you listen. Like, are you intrigued? Are you curious to know more? That's how you start to get a feel for all the other things that are out there besides sports. And then I want to be there to say, hey, if entrepreneurship is a viable option for you, and here's how all those skills that you had to get you to where you were in basketball, here's how that translates into the business world. When you were in college and you had a game on a Saturday, did you party Friday night?
I guess I can say it now. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but most of the time you weren't like going to frat parties or big keggers or whatever.
Probably no, we weren't doing all that.
Yeah. So what I found is athletes are willing to make sacrifices, right? For a long time to get to where they want to be. They're not sleeping in on Saturday morning. They're in the gym or whatever, right? They're going to practice before school. For swimmers, they're always swimming before school. Like, that's major sacrifice. It takes a lot of sacrifice when you want to be an entrepreneur. You're going to drive a piece of shit car and eat top ramen while you're building a business, right? You just are.
Every day.
Right? I mean, that's just how it is. And you have to be willing to make those sacrifices for your dream. Long-term goal setting. Let's say you start playing basketball when you're 8 years old, and by the time you're 18, you're going to college on basketball scholarship. You've now worked at that goal for 10 years. In this day and age where we get Amazon every other day, people do not know how to, put off and create long-term goals and keep at them. And I tell athletes, you got this, you know how to do this. Did you ever get benched? Did you ever lose a game? Did you ever get injured? Did you ever get traded? I mean, those are things. And you get benched or you lose a game, guess what? The next day, you're right back in the gym. You have to have thick skin and tenacity and be willing to get up and go back out there and do it again. And that is the biggest thing that takes people out of entrepreneurship. They cannot handle the being kicked in the face on a daily. And that's how it works. But you got to get up and get back out there.
Kicked in the face, the chest, the stomach, everything, the ass, every day. And yeah. I know it firsthand because that's how I am with this. And I like to design clothes. I thought about being a personal trainer, all these different things. And it's like everything just ends up coming back to the podcast and, doing other things that relate to mental health and helping people and serving people. So I can definitely relate. It's a hard journey, but I feel like it's worth it. It's very rewarding.
Yeah, good. And thank goodness that it's rewarding, because that's what's going to get you through the tough times. The other thing that I always share with people, and sometimes, for a long time, I didn't even remember to tell people this because I thought, well, of course you'd know that, right? But get other entrepreneur friends, start some mastermind groups, whatever, because what's going to happen is if your friends are all, people that you knew from basketball, or it's your family, and none of them are entrepreneurs, they're not going to understand what you're going through. They're going to say, oh, Samara, just go get a job, whatever, right? They won't understand the roller coaster that you're going to ride emotionally and financially and all of that. But entrepreneur friends, they will. And they'll be there to be like, oh, you're getting sued. Happens to everybody. You're fine. It's part of it, right? Oh, your significant other is pissed at you because you work every weekend. Here's how you handle that. Just take a weekend, take them out of town, whatever, and then get back at it. And so that would be my suggestion for you and anyone else that's going down that. It's like when you're playing basketball, not everybody in your circle will understand what it takes, right? Except for other basketball players. So
exactly, that's real. And my dad, man, I gotta text him and tell him thank you again. Told me that a long time ago. You have to be around like-minded people. How am I, like, on my journey to going to UConn, because that was always my dream school. So he would say I couldn't hang out with kids, and I was mad. Like, well, everybody else is going to the party, all the football players, my teammates, the soccer kids, everybody else. And he was like, yeah, are they trying to go to UConn? How good are they? You see their talent level. There's a difference. And I didn't understand it back then. And now I definitely understand. I'm all for, especially now networking across, but I do believe you have to be around people who are smarter than you and further ahead than you.
That will push you and support you. And I love your dad.
Yeah, me too.
I love your dad. You tell him I said hi, and he did a really good job raising you. Really good job.
Thank you. He's something else, man. I tell him all the time, he's the smartest guy I know, and he could have been a millionaire or a billionaire. He was an entrepreneur in his own illegal ways, and he did good at it. So that's why I don't understand why he didn't do the opposite. But a lot of people like that. And
so I have a theory on that, and a lot of it is that, again, there's not the language that goes with that, or the your dad might not have made the connection of like, hey, I'm really good at. So for instance, so I've done a lot of speaking to felons because I'm one. So I did a lot of, when I lived in Arizona, I spoke a lot to felons that were coming out of prison. And I'd start and I'd be like, okay, everybody, you tell everybody why you were in prison, because there's no judgment here. We're all opening the kimono, like, let's just lay it out here. So we went around, and the last guy, I could tell he just dressed really nice. He was sitting like this, and he was just not going to participate. And he was like, I was a drug dealer. And I was like, were you good? He's like, yep, I was really good. And I go, And so I got a whiteboard out, and I was like, okay, did you have a territory that was yours? Yep. Okay. Did you have people that, worked for you, ran drugs, or, sold for you or anything? Yep. Did you have people trying to infringe on your territory? Yep. Did you have to manage the money to buy the new drugs and, blah, blah, blah? Yep. Did you, and I was like, dude, do you see this correlation? You manage people, you manage your competition, you defended your territory, you hired people, you fired people, you manage your money. Like, hello, you're a business person. And here's the thing of why I did that so much. When you're a felon, you cannot get a job, depending on what what level of felony. But what sucks is we create a big cycle of bullshit. That is, the recidivism rate is so high because somebody comes out of prison and can't get a job anywhere. And so then what do? They go back to crime because they have to make money. It's life, right? And so I just tell them, hey, go be an entrepreneur. Go start a graphic design company. Go start a landscaping company, a house painting company, a whatever, because no one's ever going to ask you if you're a felon. You maybe can't open a daycare, but that's it. Like, you can be an entrepreneur, and so many of them do become entrepreneurs. Legit, like.
What do you see go off in their head when they make that connection finally?
So what he said to me was, oh my God, nobody's ever pointed that out to me. No one's ever. And I was like, yeah, it's the same thing with athletes, Samari. I'm trying to give them language so they can make that correlation and explain it to others, but mostly so they see the connection. Like, you have a skill set, and what's going on in their mind is just like, first of all, I've never had anybody believe in me. That's the thing, first thing that comes out of their mouth. I'm like, well, I believe in you. In fact, I kind of admire you because you had the guts to go start a business. And bummer, it was selling cocaine, but you started a business, right? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was always, man, no one's ever believed in me before. And then I never thought about it like that. That was always the other big response. Like, well, how would you? What? Nobody else has ever probably pointed that out to you.
That's real. And that's what I think, that's what I was going to say about my dad is, he even quit school because his parents like didn't come to his basketball games. He got a scholarship to New Mexico, and he, since they didn't come to his games in high school and at JUCO, he knew they wouldn't come there, and he didn't want to be that far away from home. And he just, came back home and got into that. But the crazier part is he was a prison guard, and he was selling in the prison, all that. I'm telling all my daddy's business, but it's fine. He's all good now. It's on one of my plaques actually from a magazine article, so it's out there. I'm not my first time telling it, but yeah. So he said that same thing, is that throughout his whole life with basketball, with wanting to start businesses or just whatever he wanted to do, nobody really believed in him. And so that's how he reacted to my mom when she wanted to do stuff, with me when I wanted to take certain risks, with himself. Like if I tell him that he could do something, that's just like, nah, dad is too old. And this was back when he was, 40s, 50s. So you are right. We do stay in a cycle of bullshit. And that is how I got out of mine, was looking at my parents. And once I had people like you pointing things out, to help me be empathetic towards my parents, I was able to do that. I was able to give them empathy and feel bad and be like, you know what? They may not be the nicest to me now because they feel like I should be doing whatever they think I should be doing, but
you should,
yeah, but they still believed in me, and I think that they still do. So I have opportunities that they didn't have, and I have the knowledge, the language that you talk about. Like that is, I love that you said that, because I heard Jay-Z said that, and that was the first time I really heard anybody say that like that, and it made a lot of sense. So I hope that other people that are listening understand also. But that's real. And yeah, so being able to give empathy to them and to other people, that helps me on my journey, and to even be empathetic towards myself, because I needed to.
For sure. And, it also hopefully gives you a little bit of separation from people when they don't believe in you or they don't support you, that you now get to look at that almost from like a third person, right? So you understand like, oh, well, they don't know what this is like, and they've never done it. And so they're just scared, or they're just whatever. And you separate that out from taking it personal, it will save you years of heartache. And I think that you have already figured that out with your parents. I mean, to me, being an adult, the definition of that is when you get to the point where you see your parents empathetically and sympathetically, not blame. Some people never stop blaming their parents, right? But when you can get to the point of like, oh, well, they're just doing that because they don't want me to whatever, right? And you're just different. You want to do different things with your life. That's fine.
Yes. And I let go of so much like anger and hurt and all of that. And 100% being empathetic, it changed my life. And I think being able to do it with them, because I was blaming them for so much and didn't even realize it. All this stuff just kind of happened recently. I've made a lot of growth, over the last, I went to therapy 2 years ago now. And since then have made tremendous growth. But these last couple of months have really been intentional, and, it's quality over quantity. Being intentional these last couple of months have been way more tremendous than the last couple of years, really. But yeah, I was able to get to that point and just forgive, and I just let go of so much, and being able to do it with them, I don't even have to think about doing it with other people. It's just so natural because I was able to forgive my parents. Like if you can forgive the people who were supposed to love you and take care of you and do all these things, man, you can forgive anybody, including myself, because self-forgiveness is hard.
Yeah, it really is. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I barely know you, and I'm so proud of you. I
You're
mean,
so
it's just, it takes so much, and it's hard to get to where you're at, and you're there.
It is hard, but I had to pick my heart. It was either going to be hard, to do this
Well
and get
said.
through it, or hard to keep going through the same thing. And like, I love my apartment. I love, my life, my situation I'm in, but I know I can do better and I deserve better. But if I don't ever get out of that trap and that cycle of blaming everybody else and not going inside and, whether I have to blame myself or forgive whatever it is I got to go inside for, if I don't ever
Yeah.
do that, I'm gonna be right here forever, exactly how my
Yeah.
parents were, and the people in this building have been here for a long time. And
Yeah.
me and my wife have only been here for like a little over a year, and I'm like, oh my God, if I gotta stay in here every day, I'm like, if I have to stay in here one more day, God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm going crazy because like you
Right.
have to move, and I just want to, on to the next. But I know divine timing is everything. But
Yeah.
I know that if I don't,
So I have a really good book,
but
that I think you should read. I just finished it a couple weeks ago. It's called Soundtracks, and it's by John Acuff. It's Jon, and then his last name is Acuff. And it's about the soundtracks that just play in our minds because of things that we've gone through or the way that we were raised. Yeah. So, and it's about how you change, first of all, recognizing the soundtracks and how you change those soundtracks. And the author is really funny, and he narrates the book. I do everything on Audible. So, but I think that will really be a great book for you to read.
I'm gonna check it out. I love to read. I need to get back to reading. I'm always on Instagram trying to promote the podcast, but I need to take a break and read. I need to learn something instead of always trying to.
There's got to be a balance. I'm the opposite. I'm always try to learn too much, and then I'm not posting enough or whatever. But yeah. So, but there's some podcasts that I listen to on the regular, and there's books that I read, and I'm always blown away at how much more I have to learn.
Maybe that's why I stopped learning for a little bit, because it's too much. It's a lot out here to learn. And another thing is, I think I was learning so much from life these past couple of years. I'm from Ohio, but I was living in Chicago. And I remember a friend of mine, his name is Ray, and he was, we met in Australia. He was living in LA and he was homeless, and he was saying like, he was just embracing the hell out of it. And I was like, how are you okay? And he was like, I want to help these people and serve these people. I have to live like them. And so now I completely understand that, like completely understand that concept. It's crazy. And I had to go through that living in Chicago, because I got to see so much that I would have never seen here in Ohio ever. And going through that, it completely changed my life. And that was another, all these different things helped me get my mental health together. And that was definitely one of them.
That's amazing.
Yes. Tell us.
I'm so glad we got to have this chat.
Me too. I'm loving it. I don't want to get off, but I know I said 30 minutes. It's been way more than 30 minutes.
Oh, I don't care. I got it's fun.
This is my last question for you.
Okay.
How can your business, Athletes to Entrepreneurs, when you get it all together, serve those looking to make the transition from sport to business?
So it's going to be some tactical advice, meaning this is how you form a business. This is how you hire, blah, blah, blah. And then there's also going to be lots of just general advice and support on figuring out your dream and then going for it and making it through some of those hurdles. So it will be dynamic in that way. So I'm not just, let's say, an emotional coach, mental coach, but it's going to be a lot of mental. And I'm not just really a business coach does help you kind of overcome hurdles and grow your business and all of that. But I'm going to give people also hard tactics of like, this is actually how you do it. This is what a Reg D form looks like. This is what you need to have in your business plan. Here is the outline. So like hardcore tactical stuff. And my give back and the way that I'm going to speak at as many universities as I can, to at least give collegiate athletes some understanding that there is this option out there when they're done, whether they're done after college or they're done after pro, whatever it is. So I'm going to be just spreading that word and really trying to get to every athlete just so they know that there's another option.
I love it. And I needed you a while ago, but it's never too late. I think that coaching after sport is so important. And that's something I need to take advantage of myself. I've been talking about going back to therapy. I want to do that also. But I think the coaching, like you said, giving people that hard advice, we don't always get that from family and friends. Like you said, they just say, go get a job or do this, do that.
Right.
I think you need somebody in your life. We're so used to that, having people direct us.
That's the thing. And that's one of the things I love about athletes too, is they're coachable because they've been coached their whole life. And so they're so much easier to work with.
Yes,
right?
I think so,
yeah. And we're tough. We're tough and we have dreams and goals and we work our asses off. And, yeah, I want to help as many athletes as I can become entrepreneurs. So anything that they want. Like, one of my best friends played in the NFL and now he owns a cookie company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I know.
If you could, what would be the goal number? If you come up with the goal number of athletes to help to become entrepreneurs, what would it be?
100,000.
Whoa, I'm writing that down.
Yeah, why not?
100K by when? We got to make this measurable.
10 years.
Oh, okay. Oh, Lord, I'll be almost 40 in 10 years.
Oh, girl, I'll be 58. Shush.
Oh, man. I just turned 29 and honestly, I feel like I'm aging backwards mentally. Like I feel younger in a good way. I feel younger and more energy, but my body, oh my gosh, literally the day after my birthday, I woke up with a new pain. Like, where is this body part even at? So confused. Pain's coming from everywhere.
So I wish I had good news for you as you get older on that front, but I do not. But I can tell you this. I told you earlier about my mom, 82. She plays tennis 4 days a week. The key is to keep moving. You're going to have aches. It's going to hurt. I had my neck broken, my jaw torn off, and they're like, you'll never run again. And I was like, if I don't run, someone's dying, because that's my stress relief. So I run for everyone else's safety, or I will get my third strike. So
please don't hit the third strike, please.
No, I'm gonna really try, but sometimes
life happens, man.
Sometimes people need their ass kicked, and
you not lying,
right? I mean, I'm sorry, but I kind of wish more people really stood up for what they believed in.
Me too. And you know what? I need to start with my own self. I really do, because I do it. And, like you said, when you see things when you're just walking down the street or in the grocery store, but it's like Instagram and TikTok, all these different platforms, they're here for a reason. And I've been so hesitant to say what I really want and need to say because of the people that follow me. I know that they know me or used to know me. We played basketball together, so they're going to have this opinion of me. But like you said, they don't know certain things about me. They don't know my life for real. And that's definitely where I'm at right now. Is just every day, just daring myself more and more to put something out there and not care.
Yeah. And, the thing is in this day and age, people are craving authenticity, because for too many years, it was the Kardashians and filters on our phones, right? We don't want Photoshop pictures. We want real. Yeah, that's what people want. They want real, because real is what inspires and lets people relate to you. I mean, if you're like this star basketball player and that's what people know, maybe there's another young gal who's hasn't come out yet and is scared to do so. And she's looking to you. And if you're real and you share the struggles that you go through and the victories that you have, that's what she's going to relate to, not your highlight reel. You know what I mean?
That's real. Definitely. Kasten, listen, you kept it. I don't even say this, but you kept it all the way 100. And I really, you can tell I don't say it because it didn't come out right.
It's all good. I know what you meant.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your love and your kindness. I can feel it through the computer screen. That's real.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Is there anything that you want to say to the athletes listening or to anybody else out here listening?
Don't get pushed around by societal norms.
Point blank, period.
That's it. Like if I could have one wish, it would be that people just don't get pushed around by that.
I love it.
Listen to this and follow it.
Yes. Well, I'm listening. I'm gonna do it. I got you.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see where you go and what you do. And oh, it's gonna be fun. So I gotta find what's your Instagram?
It's at SYT_podcast. And that's on Twitter too. Yes.
Okay, cool.
And say your website, everything that the audience needs to know while we're still on here.
Yourstartuplife.com. Kasten at yourstartuplife.com. Instagram, Facebook, everything. Perfect. Yeah, it's all that. Yeah.
Easy enough. Kasten, thank you one more time. I really appreciate you. And I love you. I love you already.
We'll talk again. Okay.